It's another day, another video of all of this woke ABCD nonsense that's going on in the Western world today. But before we get into the video, make sure you like the video as much as possible, subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the notification bell so that you guys get notified when one of my new videos come out, and also subscribe to Eliezer's YouTube channel, which will be linked in the description down below. But let us get into the video.
Guys, we're at Portland State University asking people if transitioning kids is grooming. You disagree, Ramona?
I don't know. Do I? You gotta convince me.
So my position is kids cannot consent to puberty blockers. They can't consent to transitioning their body. What they think is gender dysphoria is actually just maybe other tough issues that they're dealing with in life. So they're not old enough to actually know what they're getting into, what they're signing up for, or what it is that they're consenting to.
I think you need hella therapy before you can do all that. I don't actually know anything about trans people, so
okay.
I go to all girls school, so I don't know anything about it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
By the way, my argument isn't for trans people, it's trans kids.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. But it'd be kind of hard to have a discussion if
well,
if you're not too sure about it.
I'm just here.
Yeah. So my definition of grooming would be building a relationship with someone in a sense of manipulation to hopefully get something out of them in the future.
But what is society? If this is grooming, what would a society want from kids being trans? It just doesn't make sense. It just seems like a whole bunch of work. And my honest opinion, everyone's pretty damn lazy, and it just seems like so much effort to go through and be like, let's all be trans, because honestly, it just sounds like a whole big deal. People already have a hard time getting on the right bus in the morning to go to school. Why are they getting on the bus to go to OHSU? That just seems like a whole big deal.
There are a lot of reasons as to why people want to make kids transition into something that they really can't be. Part of what that would be is just trying to control people, because people who have power a lot of times love to just exert their control and exert their manipulation on other people. For people to think that there isn't some sort of agenda in the grand scheme of things just goes to show you that these types of people do not think about anything other than themselves. They would want to do this to kids and also push this on society just to see how much they can control them and how much they can manipulate and brainwash society, which is what they're doing right now. So I don't see as to why they wouldn't do what they're doing.
No, I mean everyone. Like, why would a society be grooming kids? It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, members of society, not all of society.
Okay, well, okay.
Yeah, so
I'm here.
So I'll say why, right? So hurt people hurt people. Do you agree with that?
Well, yeah.
People that are hurt, people that went through trauma, maybe kids that were molested, people that were molested, they went through abuse, negligence, they're hurt inside. So a lot of times those people are gonna, without wanting to, it's just gonna be within them to hurt other people.
But if this is such a positive society, then how is being trans and then being groomed and hurt, how is it all associated? It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
People are lazy. A society doesn't want, I mean, not a society, but this society doesn't want all these kids to be trans. They probably then there's more likelihood for people to be like, what's the word? People to be like, no, this is wrong, and you did this to me, and this and that. That just seems like it allows for so much more room for people to be like this. If members of society are encouraging kids to be trans, I think that's a whole other issue. I don't think it's grooming, because grooming, I feel like, has to be like this whole thing where it's like, I don't know, but like, why? It doesn't make any sense. I don't think it's grooming. I mean, definitely there's a societal thing where people are like, yes, let's all like.
Do you think there's pedophiles that exist?
I think pedophiles are a real thing.
Right.
Do you think pedophiles are a real thing? Yes. Pedophilia is a real thing.
And do you think pedophiles are pedophiles? Are they born as pedophiles, or do they eventually become pedophiles throughout society?
I don't know. I'm not a pedophile.
Okay.
Pedophilia makes no sense.
So
I don't know anything about that. I think that is gross. I don't want to be talking about pedophilia, because what does pedophilia have to do with trans people?
Well, that's what I'm getting to, right? Is we don't understand it. I don't understand how a pedophile could want, like a 25-year-old would want to be with a 10-year-old. I don't understand it. But it's something that happens.
But how is that in relation to?
How is that related to it?
I'm not being like.
Because no, I know. I know. Because there's a social contagion aspect of it, which eventually pedophiles will either be hurt and they'll become pedophiles based off the trauma that they had in the past, right? And that was someone, maybe their uncle molested them, maybe their friend, their babysitter.
Pedophilia nature or nurture? Like, what is that from?
There's different sociological studies.
Is it
there's
both, or is it one?
I don't know. There's no absolute.
You crazy from start, or are you crazy?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I would say regardless of which route you decided to, someone commented on my social media yesterday saying that they're born with it. Whichever way you say, it's going to be pretty bad no matter what.
Yeah.
But my argument within the kids is grooming is because, once again, they can't consent. They don't know what they're actually consenting to. When they say they're getting on cross-sex hormones, They're sending these kids, for example, in California and even some cases in Oregon, they take these kids away from their families. There was this, I forgot her.
Taking them away.
CPS.
CPS. Well, CPS because they're being abused, or
No.
why?
For example,
CPS is not just taking away kids randomly.
California, I think it's Senate Bill 145. They passed this bill where if kids if their parents aren't allowing them to transition, you can pretty much seek refuge in California, and they're gonna pretty much put you with an adoption agency or a family home that will affirm your gender.
You can see from the body language of this student that she's not even really listening, and she already has whatever it is that she has in her head and whatever she believes of this whole situation. She doesn't really care what Eleazar is saying to her, and she already has what she believes in her head. The fact that she believes CPS take children from parents and there has to be a justified reason as to why they take them away is absurd. Just as Eleazar just pointed out, apparently they put a new bill where they can take the child away if you don't affirm their gender, which is absolute insanity.
It just sucks for kids.
It
Honestly,
does.
I'm just saying that. Here's the thing. There is definitely a real issue where people feel silenced by their parents because they're trans and all that, and I don't really have that many trans friends because I go to all-girls school, obviously. But, that just sucks for kids. I think the actual solution to that is because people are going to get real mad if you take that away. But here's the solution to that. Make it just... you have to see that as a bad thing. Like, you don't want... Obviously, if your family is not good because of these gender things...
But can you move your water on this corner, please?
Yes.
Thank you. It's all good.
But, I think that these things need to be advertised more as, being away from your family, even though being put into a new situation, it just seems so suffocating in another way because, being with your family in a bond, I don't really have any specific beliefs on this opinion, but I just think that the solution to that is not taking it away, it's just showing the reality of what it actually could be like, because obviously if you're in a really bad family, and I'm lucky to have a pretty accepting family, even though I don't really affirm with any of sort of thing like that, but I don't know, it just needs to be seen in reality. But
have you heard of a psychiatrist named Miriam Grossman?
I have not.
So in her book, she talked about this girl named, I don't know if it was Sarah or some other girl. There was one in Portland, actually. But this girl, they ended up taking her from her parents because the dad wouldn't allow them to get on puberty blockers. They went through an entire legal process because they were trying to take the kid away from the dad, obviously. And the mom wanted her to change her gender. But anyways, they put her in a foster care with two...
The mom
wanted the kid to consent to puberty blockers and these cross-sex hormones.
What's the kid in this? Where's the kid?
So yeah, let me get to that, right? So they put her in this foster care, and the two people that they put her to were two gay guys to watch her, and both of them ended up abusing her. So here's
they
what.
Just let anybody in all. I can't read that. They just let anybody in all. I think.
Well, do you understand what I said? Though,
no, yeah, I know.
Those people that were in that foster care, those two gay guys, right? This is just an example. It's anecdotal because everything within sociology is anecdotal, anyways. They were her, and they spread that hurt to that girl. So now when that girl eventually went on cross-sex hormones, and you're not?
It's just never that deep, y'all. I think all this stuff is just never that deep. People need to...
Hold on, you don't disagree though, right?
No, I'm not disagreeing. But also, I think that people need to see reality through a very real lens. There are so many... All these things are not going to be a perfect solution. It's never going to be like, oh yeah, kids taking these things are exact grooming or this and that. It's a very complicated issue, and I think that our society is very progressive, and that's why we can allow for these conversations. But here's the thing. No solution to this is going to be perfect. No solution to being a transgender person is going to be perfect.
And if it's the case that you want people in society to see things through a real lens, how about you start telling people the truth and the real reality that there are only two genders, and stop telling them that you can be wherever you want to be and somehow you can change from being a male to a female or a female to being a male when that's just not real.
And like you said, you seem pretty healthy. You seem pretty good. I don't think you would be in that mental state right now where you feel like you're in the wrong body. And maybe it's because you had good parents.
I don't think that there's a very wide range of people who are transgender, who have these beliefs and things like that. The solution to that is just need more therapy. Not like therapy to be like, no, you're not trans. Just therapy it needs to be a longer process. I think that it just needs to be a way longer process. And because it doesn't need to be like a thing where it's like, I don't know.
No, yeah, that's my belief too, is look deeper into it.
But I think that this is good that you are doing this because I think that you're allowing me to disagree in some ways, and you're allowing us to have a good conversation, and I appreciate that because people need to be okay with having conversations where they disagree in some forms, and not everything is clear and exact, which is, this issue is not clear and exact. There's no solution that's going to be exactly what you want. And that sucks because the whole thing is so, like, they're all genders and everything, and just not. It just doesn't, I'm just not trans. Because everyone just needs more therapy and more processes, more adult mentors in their life. Because if you're saying that that this is because they're being abused and groomed, and there are things that have leading them to see that going on puberty blockers is the solution, then they just need more adult figures in their life, more adult figures that are stable, that they can learn to trust, that they can, and that doesn't have to be, you can have family that you adapt into your life and stuff like that. So the solution is not to ban puberty blockers. It is to establish other methods for kids to get help and be supported, and
yes, the solution is not to ban puberty blockers, it's to allow them to still use the puberty blockers. Even though kids can't consent to a lot of other things, let's allow them to be able to consent to being able to suppress their hormones, which they can't change in the near future if it's the case that, because they're young people and don't really know what it is that they're doing, if it's the case that in the future they eventually change their minds and want to go back on it, but now they can't because they've already taken the puberty blockers. And you as an adult, or you as a college student, just like this college student says, they should still be allowed to take it. They eventually take it, and now they can't change what they've done because we know that kids can't consent to things like this. But of course, these people, being woke people and being the ABCD community that they are, allow for this nonsense.
Puberty blockers are used for?
To block puberty?
Right, but it blocks it permanently. A lot of these people say that it's just temporary.
I think that it does not damage. I don't want to say damage, but it changes someone's body irreversibly. Is that
so? When you go through puberty, it's the most important stage of development as an adult, right, or as a human. If you block the puberty, you don't go through puberty at all. So that would be a lot of problems, right?
I think, doesn't it work side by side with another form of treatment? I just don't.
There's a lot behind puberty blockers, but I'll give you an example. One of the puberty blockers that they use is Lupron. Lupron is also used for chemical castration for sex offenders. It's not FDA approved for kids with gender dysphoria. So the FDA, which is pretty woke in my opinion, they haven't even approved it themselves.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the same way that I can apply the thing with the kids in the decision. There just needs to be more people who are allowing themselves to have conversations like this, where they are allowed to be like, yes, sometimes we can disagree, and I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm being vulnerable right now. Look at all these people watching me. I'm allowing myself to be like, you know what? Sometimes I have views that I think other people would find problematic, and that's okay.
But which one of you is transphobic? Both of you?
No one's trans.
Hold on.
Wait, hold on.
I'm just curious.
No one's. I don't think it's transphobic. I think
everyone here would disagree with you, unfortunately.
Really?
Yeah. Everyone here, yeah.
It's not.
Look around. Read the room.
Here's my belief. I think that grooming is the wrong word to use.
What is grooming?
Grooming? He said hold on.
Hold on. You're moving. You're jumping. Address the first one first. You said transphobic. You accused us of being transphobic, right?
We need more people like Eliezer to call out the nonsense that just went on right now, and I'm glad he actually held this guy to the first points of him calling them both transphobic, not knowing who the heck they are. And more people need to be stern like this and call these people out, because they like to throw around terms like, you're transphobic, you're homophobic, you're a racist, you're sexist. And he quite frankly doesn't even know the two people sitting there, and by his admission, he had to ask, who is it amongst you two that's transphobic? But yeah, he called both of them transphobic, which makes no sense. But as per usual, I don't expect much from these people, and I don't expect them to make sense most of the times.
Yeah.
So address that first. What if this has to do with transphobia?
No. What
if this has to do with transphobia?
Can you define grooming, please?
No. What if this has to do with transphobia? You made an accusation. Hey, thank you, Ramona. We need more people like this that can have dialogues without emotions.
Now she's running away?
No, we were done actually. Yeah, nice try though.
Bye-bye.
So you said I'm transphobic?
I asked which one of you is transphobic, or if it was both of you.
I know. So you think I'm transphobic?
Yeah, with this message I do, yeah.
But what about this? And I'm trying to be nice here, right?
I don't care if you're being nice.
Okay. So why are you so hostile is my question.
What about...
Like, why are you so angry?
You're being angry?
Yeah, you do.
In what way?
You haven't addressed how I'm transphobic.
because you're suggesting that it's grooming, but you can't define grooming.
So you support kids transitioning?
What's that?
You support kids transitioning?
I'm asking you a question.
I know, I'm asking you a question too. Do you support kids transitioning?
You're the one sitting here with a platform.
Yeah, but I don't have to answer your questions though. That's the funny part.
I don't have to answer yours.
Okay, then later. It's that simple.
So you don't know what grooming is?
Huh?
Are you Googling what grooming is?
No. I'm not responding to him.
Are you grooming?
Yeah.
Are you doing grooming right now?
Well, I don't support kids transitioning.
You don't support kids transitioning?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So what is
Put the camera on them. What is grooming?
Yeah.
I think you know what grooming is.
I don't.
Yes.
And here we have exhibit A of the ABCD community, and what I always say, they always have a certain look. Here to the right hand side of the individual with the rainbow colored shirts, as in the very right hand side, we have a woman with green hair, so you already know she's a part of the group. Then in the middle you have the guy with the crop top, with the beard, with the long hair, who obviously more than likely identifies as a woman, but we all know this is a male. And then we have the guy to the left who started this whole confrontation by saying that he's transphobic and whatnot, and we all know they're a part of the same group.
It is.
No one agrees with you.
Huh?
No one agrees with you.
About this topic?
I don't want to.
So I thought you were trying to have a dialogue.
Well, that's why I came out here, because no one agrees with me. I know that. I know where I am. I know what city I'm in. Yeah, so I know that. That's why I'm doing this. So I says, prove me wrong.
We love birth control here too.
Do you support abortion too? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you support the kids dying in Palestine right now? You're happy for that too? Yeah. So how do you reconcile those two beliefs then? You support abortion, but you don't support those kids dying in Palestine.
So these are made by one of my friends, adorable.
How do you reconcile that? I wanted to see the contradiction. That's where it lies.
Those are two separate issues.
No, it's not.
So what are you so afraid of with kids transitioning?
Okay. Well, we can have a discussion if you want to sit down.
I don't want to sit down.
Okay, then I'm filming a video right now.
So what's your? I don't give a fuck about your video.
Yeah, you're mad now, huh? I love seeing this side of you. You're not mad?
No, I just don't get.
Yeah, I love seeing this side of you. Because we're here having respectful conversations and you can't control your emotions.
Your little straw man arguments are gross.
Yeah. Are you guys about love and inclusivity?
What?
Are you about love and inclusivity? Is that what you stand for? Is that what you stand for? Love and inclusivity.
What do you mean?
You can't answer those basic things?
You have yet to answer a single question.
Well, you can't answer the basic stuff.
Am I
You
about
accuse
love?
me of being a transphobe. Now you're angry and I'm asking you.
I never used to that. What?
Oh my.
So what is your problem with kids transitioning?
Well, you can sit here and we can talk about it.
I'm sure I could, but I'm not going to.
Do you think kids at the age of 10, do you think that they're mentally mature compared to a 25-year-old to make
They're probably more
life-changing
mentally
decisions?
mature than you are. Yeah.
Okay. That's a real gotcha, huh? So do you think if a 10-year-old wants to sleep with a 50-year-old, that should be okay too?
What does that have to do with this?
What does that have to do with trans? Yeah.
Well, I'm in my 20s. He said a 10-year-old would be more. Hold on, let me talk. He said a kid would be more mature than me. So my question is, if they're more mature than me, should it be okay if a 10-year-old is with a 50-year-old? That's my question.
First of all, mental maturity that can be about a lot of things, but your identity isn't a question of mental maturity. Who you are as a person isn't a question of mental maturity. You are born that way. You are born.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm saying that, but I'm saying if you're born trans, you are trans, and that doesn't mean that you're like a 4-year-old, and that doesn't mean that there's anything.
Now you're changing that though.
But I'm just saying, however old, like if you're a kid and you think you're trans and like you identify as trans and that's how you feel, what is your problem with that? Like, I'm just genuinely asking. I'm sorry if I sound rude, but I'm genuinely just wondering if you see like a kid who is like, I feel like I'm a woman, and I feel like, and then they grow up and they still identify that way, and they still identify that way, and that's who they are as a person. What is your problem with that? What is your problem with letting people be themselves and be happy as who they are?
Certain people in life, just like in this girl in this video, have an issue with just asking a simple question and not repeating it several times over. She asked the question and then kept on repeating the same thing when she didn't need to. How in the blue hell can you come to the conclusion that if a 10-year-old tells you that they feel a certain way, what they're feeling is true? Following her logic, a 10-year-old could tell you they feel like anything, and should we just go along with what they say because they feel that way? They have an issue with following logic and logical things to its logical conclusion, because if a 10-year-old can tell you that they feel like a girl if they're a boy, then a 10-year-old should be able to tell you that they should be able to engage in certain activities just like Eliezer pointed out, and you should allow them to engage in it because they feel that way, and based on your logic, the way they feel is based on what's real, and they should be allowed to do what they feel. But of course, I don't expect individuals with low IQ to be able to follow that type of logic.
Yeah, good question. And that's a genuine question you're asking, right?
I'm genuinely
Yeah. I would be okay if it was just an idea. Like back then when they were trying to get gay rights and all these things, like they just wanted to have something for them, right? And I understand where they felt oppressed or they felt disrespected. The problem with this is that it's no longer just a belief. Like, I feel like I'm a girl, I play with dolly things. It's not those things. It's the fact that if you start telling someone, you're stupid, or you are a girl, they're eventually going to believe that they're really that. And these kids end up going on puberty blockers, for example, what I was talking to Ramona about. Sure.
The thing is that these kids, no one tells them, no one goes through their life and tells them, if you're assigned male at birth, no one like is telling these kids, you're a girl, and then they just start to believe it. If you're assigned male at birth, usually people treat you as a man and treat you with these like gender roles that are assigned by society as a man. You know this, right? I assume that you're a cisgender man.
No, I'm a female today. Yeah.
But
you assumed my gender though.
I know you're doing.
No, you assume my gender. How come you assume that? How come you assume that? How come you assume that?
Can we continue the conversation?
Sure.
I was raised as a cisgender female, and I identify as female. And I was treated as a female my entire life. And I'm okay with that because I identify as female. But no one has ever been telling me my whole life, you are a man, you are a man. No one has ever been telling me, you are a man, you should identify as a man. And if one day I woke up, if I was a kid and I had been raised as a female, but I thought, I am a man, and I thought, this is how I feel, and this is who I am, and I told my family that, and I came out with that, that's okay, because that's who I am. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with that.
This is all just nonsense, and just because you feel a certain way doesn't make you that thing that you feel like. For us to come to a state in society where people are saying 10-year-olds can feel a certain way and that feeling that they have is valid is absolute stupidity, and it goes to show me that I shouldn't listen to people who say this nonsense, and I don't listen to people who say this nonsense. But anyway, that was another video. Make sure you guys like the video as much as possible if you enjoyed the video. Comment down below, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow me on Instagram and Twitter at YinkaThatGuy, and I am out.